Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Good evening, good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to our service this evening. So glad you could join us, whether you're joining us through the live stream or whether you're joining us through Facebook or YouTube. It is still wonderful to see you. And let me tell you that we are actively planning down to the details as to when we are going to be back in the building, sooner rather than later, and we are hoping that the construction in the sanctuary will get started the next couple of days. We'll finish quickly, and then we will go from there, and things will be back to what we used to think was normal. Let us begin our service this evening with the singing of Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom.
I'm on the bottom of page 9. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories, glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. We continue with the Shabbat candle blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotov, v'tzivonu lehad lekner shel Shabbat.
There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Please turn now, for those of you who have your books, to page 22, and we continue with the singing of Tov Lehodot.
Tov, Tov, Tov lehodot, Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tov, Tov, Tov lehodot, Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Usameh l'shimcha elyon, l'shimcha elyon. Utzamer, utzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov, Tov, Tov lehodot, Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tov, Tov, Tov lehodot, Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Le'ogid babu
Page 27. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. Page 28, please rise for the Baruch.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due, now and forever. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvivana meshana itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisager et hakokavim, v'mishmarotehem barakiach ustono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mitnei choshech, v'choshech mitnei or, uma'avir yom u'meivi layla, umakil ben yom uvein layla Adonai tzvaot shmo. El chai v'kiyam, kami yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. On page 32, everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down, when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. We continue with the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shekevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated, and we continue on 36 with you shall love Adonai your God with all your hearts.
You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your strength, with all your being. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down Adonai, your God.
The top of page 39, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Nichamocha.
Zeli, Zeli, Anavi Amaru, Adonai Yimloch, Lilam Vaed, Yababa Bibibam, Yababa Bim Bam, Yababa Bibibam, Yababa Bim Bam, ay, 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 Yababa Bim Bam, ay, 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 Yababa Bim Bam.
Page 43. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shadow of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Page 44, Bishamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם.
Those who keep Shabbat by calling it a delight will rejoice in your realm. The people that hallow Shabbat will delight in your goodness. For being pleased with the seventh day, you hallowed it as the most precious of days, drawing our attention to the work of creation. Page 46, please rise for the tefillah.
סטירות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע מוריד הטל. מחייל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נפילים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עבר. מי כמוך בגבורות ומדומה אליו, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמנתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יחללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please be seated and let us continue on the top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai she'otcha levadcha v'yirah na'avod. And on page 59, God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shemcha, u'lecha na'eh lechodot. We continue now on page 56 with Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tosim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tosim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol ha-shalom. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol ha-shalom. Betov b'enecha, levarech et Amecha Yisrael. Shalom Moed Amo Yisrael Shalom.
Let us pause for a few moments of private silent prayer.
May the Lord protect and defend you. May He always shield you from shame. May you come to be in Israel a shining name. May you be like Ruth and like Esther. May you be deserving of praise. Strengthen them, O Lord, and keep us from the strangers' ways. May God bless you and grant you long life. May God keep you and shield you from strife. May our death and care for you. May the Lord preserve you from pain. Favor us, O Lord, with happiness and peace. Oh, hear our Sabbath prayer.
Page 253, prayers for healing. Misha Berach Avotenu v'Imotenu, Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah Rachel Leah, Hu Yivarech et Hacholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. We mention in particular Ralph Einstein, Stuart Tauber, Bert Silbert, Rabbi Jonathan Katz, Robert Spivak, Jen Hartlove, Jim Gardner, Marlene Gardner. And we think in our hearts and speak out loud the names of others who could use an extra prayer at this time. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion, for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us all say amen as we sing together.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a
And a prayer of thanksgiving on behalf of those who are doing better or feeling a little bit better this week. May the one who has bestowed goodness upon us continue to bestow every goodness upon us forever. Amen. Page 258, prayers for our community. Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us: love of Torah, devotion and prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. Avinu Shebashamayim.
Avinu Shebashamayim, Tzar Yisrael v'Golo, Baruch et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit tzmichat geulateinu. Again alecha, bevrat chastecha, ufras alecha, Sukkot shalomecha, Betoknim be'etzat tova.
Last week, I successfully resisted the temptation to talk about Israel's new government because I wanted to wait until everything actually happened. I sometimes say you wait until the ink is on the paper. I'll believe it when I see it. This week, I want to talk about two comments that were made, one by the alternate prime minister and one by the prime minister in the Knesset meeting when the new government was voted in. I want to put these comments in very Jewish context, but I need to share with you what was happening in the Knesset at the time. Opponents of the new government, in a very unruly way, were screaming out all kinds of nasty words and nasty thoughts and couldn't stay in their seats. They were misbehaving the way kids sometimes unpleasantly misbehave in school. My first reference is to the comments by the alternate prime minister and foreign minister, Yair Lapid. He put his, and by the way, I was very, very fortunate to be able to see and hear, not live, recorded later, but to see the words, the actions, the body language and everything, thanks to modern technology. He put aside his prepared speech and he said in embarrassed tones that he was embarrassed that his 86-year-old mother, who came to the Knesset for this event, had to see such misbehavior. That touched me. Now, the Prime Minister, Naftali Bennett, in his speech, and he said all kinds of nice and conciliatory words, especially regarding his predecessor. He mentioned, according to the rabbinic understanding of history, twice before in Jewish history, Jews lost their independence in the land of Israel, and he attributed that loss, as the rabbinic tradition does, to internal rivalries and hatreds. We're not completely sure, we're not even hardly sure at all about the details of the destruction of the first temple in the kingdom of Judah in 586 before the Common Era. With regard to the revolt against Rome, which ended with the destruction of Jerusalem in the year 70, we know that in addition to the war against Rome, there were all kinds of internal civil wars among the Jews. The rabbis speak of this as sinat chinam, free-floating hate. That can be as destructive as anything else. Now, I happen to feel the Romans won the war because they have the stronger army. But how we interpret things and how we view things, we have been critical of the divisions and the hatreds in Jewish history, even though they have existed throughout our history. In this week's Torah reading, we read that there are rebels against Moses and Aaron. There's a rebellion. What gave you the right to be leaders? We've always had to deal with this. Now, when we think about our religious obligations, we can emphasize, as the more traditional Jews do, the ritual commandments. We can emphasize, as Reformed Jews do, the ethical commandments. You've got to be honest in your business dealings. In addition to, above all of these, there is the commandment, and I'll say it in Hebrew and then translated, Ahavat Yisrael, the love of the Jewish people. Yisrael meaning the collectivity of the Jewish people. Even when we disagree, even when we feel that our fellow Jews are doing something wrong, there still has to be a sense of love, as we hope we would have that feeling of love in any family large or small. I am not just speaking about one side's hatred or vehement actions toward another. I'm speaking about it coming from all directions. This is destructive. And I have the hope. We have to hope. It's part of our nature. If we didn't have those positive hopes, we wouldn't be here today. I keep saying that. I have the hope that perhaps having a broad coalition of people that we would never imagine sitting down at the same table together, perhaps can create a sense that we have to get together, that we have to compromise, that we have more to lose if we don't. I take these two approaches by Lapid and by Bennett as being very, very grounded in our Jewish heritage. The sense of embarrassment. If you can't be embarrassed, something's wrong. We need to be able to say, I can't do that. That's wrong. What will people say of me? What will God say of me? And if we continue calling each other names. Now, I'm being very serious about all of this. I look at Jewish news sources online on a pretty regular basis, and I'm taking all of this seriously. I'm taking it seriously as I try to see how people of radically different backgrounds and goals and intentions, religious nationalists, anti-religious nationalists, non-nationalists, get together. And I also want to say that if my calculations are correct, and I think they are, that the leaders of three of the parties in the present coalition at one point or another were very close allies of Netanyahu, worked in his office, were cabinet ministers under him. So the divisions maybe aren't so great. I hope for the sake of the Jewish people, we can continue to have some sort of unity and also to be self-conscious. Embarrassed is another word. We used to think that Jews behaved well in previous generations because it didn't look right if we didn't. It's a very defensive way of behavior. But it would reflect negatively on us, negatively on our people, and we felt negatively on God. May we try to find some hope and inspiration in an effort to rebuild a kind of credibility, to get beyond all the name calling, and start a new chapter. I could go on forever with all kinds of bits and pieces of things that I think are extremely important. We don't have any of the Haredi, the ultra-Orthodox parties in this new government. They are quite upset. They are calling Bennett all kinds of names. They say he's worse than a Reformed Jew. I mean, you want to get a real insult out at somebody, that's the way to do it. And why are they really upset? Because of their funding that's being lost. And then you get the trivia, and it is trivia that you see in so much of the Jewish news, and we can laugh at this. Here, poor Bennett, who was not blessed with a full head of hair, how on earth does he keep his kippah on his bald head? Well, if anybody had any awareness of how this is done, there are a kind of adhesive that you can, there is a kind of adhesive that you can use. You would know that, but that's trivia, and that's absurd. The bigger issue is, how can we all get together and live together? And we can't expect this of the world. We can't preach this to the world if we can't do it among ourselves. So I am optimistic. I have to be optimistic. If I weren't optimistic, I don't know how I would go on. as I am optimistic, and getting more so every day, I think, regarding the future of our congregation. We are going to reopen, recreate ourselves as a more vibrant place in the next weeks as we open our doors. No, I can't give you an exact date yet. I don't want to make any absolute promises, but soon. And I hope to see not just those of you who are with us right now, but all our members here and elsewhere come and join us and have a somewhat full congregation and a somewhat full choir and an opportunity afterwards to socialize and be together. For although it is possible, certainly in our tradition, to pray alone, if you're all by yourself, it doesn't mean you can't pray. More importantly and significantly, in a community. May God give us the strength to continue to have the hope and the optimism that all this will be accomplished. Let us turn now to page 283. Please rise for the adoration.
Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you, who spread out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else. Va'anaknu korhim v'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchi hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yehyeh Adonai echad u'shimo echad.
On page 291, a prayer before the Kaddish. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness into our life have gone, and not but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can only tell us what we were in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world, and each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one whose life now ended brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone and every life finds purpose. We remember those members of the congregational family who passed away in recent days and weeks and months. We remember in particular Joshua Haran, Ronald Lebo, Sophie Pollock, Lee Black, Martin Ross, Al Grossman, Norman Gross, Florence Haar, B. Einstein, Dolores Schuldinger, Judith Nelson Feldman. And we remember those whose yahrzeits occur at this time: Beatrice Alexander, Lydia Garner, Benjamin Gilfix, Wilson Kaplan, Leonard Ploner, Jeff Posner, Bruce Sands, Ruth Settle, Ben Sherrill, Ralph Singer, Charlotte Tandler, And those of you who have additional names, say them out loud, say them to yourselves, and let us turn to page 294 as we rise for the Kaddish. Yit Gadal ve'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah ve'alma divrach cherutei ve'amlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayedechol Beit Yisrael b'gala v'zman kariv ve'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ul'almei almaya yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yipa'ar ve'tromam ve'tnasei V'tadar v'talei v'talal shmei dekutsha brechu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'sherata tushbachata v'nechamata damiran v'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the source of peace grant peace unto those who mourn and comfort the bereaved among us. And let us all say, Amen. Please be seated, and I call on Stuart Sinai, President of the congregation, for a few announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi, and thank you all for being with us tonight. We know it's not quite the same, of course, as being in the synagogue, but soon, as the rabbi said, and I'll comment on that in just a moment, soon it will be that we will be in the synagogue. Anne and Kai, thank you for the music tonight. As always, quite beautiful, always moving. Thank you. And Rabbi, by the way, thank you for your thoughtful and insightful comments tonight. When I watched the reaction of the Knesset, of course, I couldn't understand what they were saying, but I saw people were excited, yelling, jumping out of their seats, and obviously weren't happy. You know, as you all know, COVID has posed some serious and unimaginable challenges for us, but we have coped pretty well, I think. We've got through these, now is it 14 or 15 months in which we've been able to do things on Zoom, and we've learned a great deal. We've all adjusted to this new norm. We pivot out of necessity because we have to, because there are some things that we just don't have control over. The COVID-19 pandemic is a constant reminder of this familiar life lesson. We don't control things. Now, let us talk about reopening, as the rabbi mentioned. We haven't a particular date, but I can tell you it's going to happen in August. What's holding us up right now is no longer COVID, because Tom, what's his name, Harmer, our city manager, has said 97% of our residents on Longboat Key are vaccinated. I'm sure that 99% of our congregation is now vaccinated. But we're in the midst still of renovations to the sanctuary. We've done an enormous amount of things. I'm not going to go through that again. You've heard that before. But the last thing we're doing is punching out the wall on the right side, putting in a new entrance, a new security door, and that will lead to a new sidewalk, that leads to a new railings that will lead you to the front of the temple. So now we'll have on the left side and the front side, besides in the synagogue itself, exits, we'll have another, in effect, security exit that we've been looking to do for a long time. This COVID period has given us the chance to finish all these things. We're going to have some rules when we open up, again, in early August. And we're going to suggest that even though most of us, I think, are vaccinated, that some people will come in who are not. And we can't control that. So I want people to feel if they want to wear a mask when they come in, even if they're vaccinated, feel free to do so. And we will be asking people or caretakers who come with our congregants who aren't vaccinated to wear a mask and sit away from everybody else. We need to have some rules. Again, we're not going to ask people if they're vaccinated or not. I'm just going to assume that we're all going to be responsible. And again, I'm not worried about all of us. I think we're a pretty responsible group. So now, though, on to announcements. Actually, I want to say a little more about reopening. We are really looking forward to reopening. The rabbi and I haven't been able to address the congregation for all these months. All these months that I've been president now for 14 months, I haven't been able to address the congregation. And, you know, I always have a few jokes, which, you know, get some reaction, and I miss all that. Carol doesn't laugh at anything I do, so that doesn't work out well. Again, we're ready to come back. And as soon as that door is finished, we're going to reopen. And we're going to have hopefully an oneg afterwards too. And we're going to be able to greet each other as we have in the past. We're coming back to normal, whatever that normal might be. Now my main goal or my main duty is really to do announcements. On Monday, June 21st, the BIW Beth Israel Women are showing and discussing the movie One of Us. It's on Netflix. It's about 3 young people trying to adjust, leaving the Hasidic community and fitting into a secular American lifestyle, and how their families reject them, and how they, after living in such large communities with many siblings, their parents, many siblings, cousins, large gatherings, are now on their own. And it's really a striking movie, and I'm sure it'll be an interesting discussion. That's Monday. On Tuesday, the rabbi will not have his class. He'll be traveling. And but soon, by the way, if you haven't, and I don't think that it's come out yet, there's going to be a sign-up sheet for the high holidays, in which you'll be asked which services you plan to be at, and you'll be asked to sign up for an honor or some kind of duty to during those high holidays. And we're looking forward to that. And then, you know, it's coming right up, and certainly we'll have our rehearsal, so to speak, in our reopenings, certainly no later than August, and we'll be ready for both live services and streaming for those of you who still will be at home. In October, by the way, our new Education Center programs begin, and soon you'll be getting the pamphlet, which is going to have more than 150 different classes and activities. You know, we've been looking for compelling programming. Well, we now have it. And as members of the temple, we don't have to pay the membership for the Education Center as we used to do. And we'll also have a discounted, because we'll sign up early, we're getting the book early before everybody else. We'll be able to sign up for classes and get a bit of a discount. I signed up for 4 classes each year for the last 4 years, and hope to do so here. But our advantage will be, it's going to be right in our temple. And we've been doing planning for all the people that we expect will be coming in and out. Really, it should be very exciting. So I dropped some of my notes again, so I don't know what else I was going to say, but have a good Shabbat, and it's good being with you. And again, we are looking forward to being together very soon. Thank you. Rabbi?
Thank you, Stuart. Let's turn to page 322. Ein Eloheinu.
Ein Eloheinu, ein Kadoninu, ein Kamalkeinu, ein Kamoshienu, Mek Eloheinu, Mek Adonenu, Mek Kamalkeinu, Mek Kamoshienu. Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
May we all be blessed with a Shabbat of peace and quiet and happiness and good health and safety. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless us by protecting us. Good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.